Imagine, for a moment, the incredible precision demanded in neurosurgery. I mean, every single incision, every movement, it carries just immense stakes. Now, picture a world where surgeons could actually rehearse every complex procedure, not just, in their minds, but with the virtual patient. Feeling the tissues, navigating that intricate anatomy, making critical decisions, all without any risk at all. That's our deep dive today. We're exploring how this wave of innovation, especially with accessible open source tools and smartly annotated surgical videos, is making that seemingly futuristic training a reality right now. We're going to unpack how even the, let's say, simplest possible simulators are really transforming neurosurgical approaches, particularly by leveraging rich data for precise anatomical landmark identification, which is just crucial for those common procedures, right?
Absolutely. And this isn't just about, cool tech. It's fundamentally about patient safety. Human error, unfortunately, it's still a leading cause of medical errors. It contributes to hundreds of thousands of deaths each year, tragically. And traditional surgical training, well, it faces some very real limitations.
Yeah.
Think about restricted access to cadavers or animal models, the high costs involved, and of course the inherent patient safety concerns when you're learning on actual patients. Simulation is really designed to tackle these very serious, deeply embedded challenges head on.
Okay, so with that foundation laid, how exactly are these readily available tools turning this vision into reality? We're diving into how they create these rich, interactive environments that, dramatically improve skills, boost confidence, and ultimately cut down on errors. And critically, all this is happening while making sure ethical responsibility and patient data privacy are kept front and center.
Indeed. The ethical and practical dilemmas of the traditional training path are significant. Relying on cadavers or animal models means facing limited availability, high expense, and important ethical questions, too. Plus, when we talk about using real patient data for training, privacy has to be absolutely paramount. Simulation offers a powerful way around many of these hurdles. It gives us an alternative.
Right. That's where the compelling benefits of VR simulation really, really shine through. It offers completely risk-free environments, places where trainees can practice repeatedly without any harm to a patient. They can experiment with different approaches, refine their techniques, and crucially, learn from mistakes in a genuinely safe space.
This ability to just repeat countless times until you achieve proficiency, that's not just a benefit. It's a massive game changer in surgical education.
Exactly.
It really accelerates the learning curve, even for the most common neurosurgical procedures.
Precisely. Simulation is such a powerful tool for improving patient safety, particularly when it's integrated within, well-defined ethical guidelines. It helps bridge that critical gap where surgeons might not otherwise get enough exposure to rare or complex cases during training, or even just perfect their technique on routine ones. For fields like neurosurgery, which involve just incredibly intricate anatomy, this kind of focused, repeatable exposure is absolutely crucial for developing mastery and ensuring better patient outcomes. Now let's get into something fascinating. The accessibility of open source tools. It's genuinely democratizing medical simulation development. Many of these groundbreaking initiatives, including the ones focused on creating these simpler simulators for specific neurosurgical tasks, they often start with these free, highly customizable platforms.
Yeah, that's huge.
It means more people can get involved, innovation can move much faster, it fosters this collaborative environment, kind of like what we see in other tech sectors.
That's right. And when we talk about crafting these simple yet effective simulators, we are seeing powerful open source software become really foundational. For building and refining the virtual anatomy, you can imagine tools, sort of like what graphic designers use, but really adapted for medical needs. Blender and GIMP, for instance, they're widely used for modifying pre-existing anatomical models, refining details, even fixing mesh errors and enhancing resolution. Then, for processing the critical medical imaging data, the patient's CT and MRI scans, usually in DICOM format, into detailed 3D models that illustrate that precise surgical anatomy and the approaches needed. Well, specialized software like 3D Slicer and Horos for macOS, they're indispensable.
Right.
And a fantastic example of this collaborative open source spirit is the 3D Atlas of Neurological Surgery project. They use these very tools to create a comprehensive 3D neuroanatomical database, from anatomical dissections and surface scanning, specifically to help people learn complex neurosurgical anatomy and common approaches.
And once these incredibly detailed models are created, how do they actually, come alive? That's where game engines come in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Platforms like Unity and Unreal Engine, even though they started in entertainment, are proving incredibly powerful for creating these immersive virtual environments.
It's so accessible now that we've even seen a medical student successfully create a full medical simulation game using Godot, which is another open source engine. That really speaks volumes about their power and ease of use for this critical purpose. And that accessibility is key for building even the simplest, most targeted simulators.
Bringing that realism and interaction to the forefront is where some really advanced open source frameworks come into play. Take VMET, virtual medical training. It's an object-oriented framework specifically designed for medical training. Its core classes emphasize critical features like deformation, collision detection, and stereoscopy. And they're built to be reused across different domains.
So deformation, what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, it simulates realistic tissue changes, often using something called a mass spring method. Imagine the tissue as a network of tiny springs sort of pulling and pushing against each other.
Okay.
It creates a realistic response, much like how, say, a soft sponge would react if you pressed it.
I see.
And collision detection, well, that ensures that virtual instruments don't just pass through organs unrealistically. It's like an invisible force field verifying proper interaction.
Right, so things bump into each other like they should.
Exactly. And then there's the Interactive Medical Simulation Toolkit, or IMSTK. That's a C++ open source platform. This one provides incredibly advanced physics-based soft body mechanics and haptics for really realistic tissue responses. It includes features like extended position-based dynamics, or XPBD, which allows for remarkably stable and realistic movements, even for highly flexible virtual objects. It also handles continuous collision detection for complex interactions, like suturing with really thin threads.
Wow.
All this technical magic makes me wonder, though, what's it actually like to feel the virtual environment?
Yeah.
How do these complex physics calculations translate into what a surgeon feels?
That is a fantastic question. And really the holy grail for realism in these simulators, isn't it? Because it's not enough to just see what's happening. You absolutely need to feel it. That's precisely where haptic feedback comes in. It's the sense of touch in virtual reality, and it's absolutely crucial for surgical realism, especially when you're doing delicate neurosurgical tasks that rely so heavily on tactile cues.
To elaborate on that feeling, let's look at a specific example. The external ventricular drain, or EVD, placement simulator.
Okay.
This is a common neurosurgical procedure. The simulator uses SenseGlove Novier haptic gloves. These provide realistic resistive force feedback and vibrotactile sensations. The detailed haptic experience during an EVD procedure is quite fascinating. As the virtual drill creates a burr hole, the user feels this oscillating force feedback, moving through air, then tissue, and finally hitting maximum intensity at the skull, signaling resistance.
You feel the layers.
Exactly. Then there's a very distinct popping sensation when the ventricle is punctured. It mimics the actual feeling a surgeon experiences. This calibrated feedback, often refined with input from expert neurosurgeons, is absolutely key for training junior residents in procedures like this, where external landmarks guide the path until you reach the ventricle.
And there are visual aids, too.
Yes. The simulator also includes helpful visual cues, like a ghost hand feature. This lets the trainee monitor their ideal trajectory, comparing it to where their hand actually is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, while these haptic gloves are brilliant for those vibrotactile sensations, the buzz or vibration, a current limitation, is that they often lack the full kinesthetic or force feedback. That sense that truly replicates the nuanced resistance you feel throughout a complex surgical movement. Future research is definitely focused on seamlessly integrating both vibrotactile and kinesthetic feedback for even greater accuracy and realism.
So, tying this back, what does all this mean for mastering anatomical landmarks, which is just so vital in neurosurgery?
Well, the ability to provide highly specific tactile feedback during anatomical interactions, like feeling that pop when piercing the ventricle, combined with precise visual guidance from features like the ghost hand, it becomes absolutely essential for accurately identifying these critical landmarks.
Right.
This setup allows trainees to learn the intricacies of common neurosurgical approaches with remarkable detail, all without direct human interaction or constant supervision. It makes the virtual training much more self-sufficient and effective for building that crucial spatial awareness and muscle memory.
Which frees up senior surgeons' time, too, I imagine.
It's another benefit, yes.
Right.
Now, building on that, we can't overstate the critical role of data annotation, especially for training the next generation of AI in healthcare. with AI in healthcare projected to grow just exponentially. I mean, from maybe $11 billion in 2021 to an estimated $188 billion by 2030.
Wow, that's enormous growth.
It is. And the demand for high-quality medical data is soaring alongside it. Annotating surgical videos and medical images like CT, X-ray, MRI, PT scans is absolutely crucial for training AI models in tasks like image classification, segmentation, and object detection.
And these are all vital
For precise anatomical landmark identification, which is central to guiding even the simplest, most common neurosurgical approaches. You need the AI to reliably see what the surgeon needs to see.
And thankfully, for people looking to actually contribute to this data revolution, there are many robust open-source DICOM annotation tools available now. Tools like MITK Workbench, ITK Snap, and the OHAVI Viewer are popular starting points for annotating medical image datasets. They support standard formats like DICOM and NIFTI. This accessibility, again, further lowers the barrier to entry for developing and refining these AI models, speeding up the process of recognizing those critical landmarks.
And when you need to really scale up the data, or perhaps when patient privacy is just a paramount concern, we turn to the really ingenious power of synthetic data generation.
Ah, okay. Synthetic data. Tell us more.
It's a brilliant solution for getting enough diverse and private data without compromising any real patient information. Instead of just, say, copying existing videos, synthetic data creates entirely new sequences that meticulously follow real surgical patterns. It simulates common neurosurgical scenarios.
So it looks real, but it's generated.
Exactly. And the key benefit here is that you automatically get perfect labels.
Perfect labels. How so?
Well, since the system generates the data, it knows exactly where every vessel, tumor, or anatomical structure is located within that synthetic scene.
I see. No ambiguity.
Precisely. This dramatically accelerates the neurosurgical annotation work. It helps fill data gaps for rare situations that might not be captured often in real-world recordings. And it does all this without getting bogged down in endless institutional approvals or compromising patient privacy. It's a real game changer for consistently training AI to spot those anatomical landmarks.
Okay, this synthetic data sounds powerful, but what truly elevates this capability, I understand, is patient-specific rehearsal, or PSR.
Yes.
It takes this concept a significant step further, right? It means a surgeon can rehearse a procedure virtually using the exact patient's own anatomical data before the real operation.
It's truly transformative.
The implications for preoperative planning seem huge, especially for complex or maybe unique cases.
Absolutely. PSR works by taking DICOM data, say from a patient's CTA or MRA scans, and reconstructing it through a process called segmentation. This creates a vascular twin, or a highly accurate 3D model of that specific patient's unique anatomy.
A virtual clone of the relevant anatomy?
Essentially, yes. And studies have already shown that PSR can significantly reduce procedure time, radiation exposure, even the volume of contrast agents needed. Critically, it also leads to a measurable reduction in both minor and major errors during the actual surgery.
That's incredible.
It gets better. In some documented cases, this virtual rehearsal has actually led to altered treatment plans, or even the postponement of a procedure entirely.
Really?
Yes, highlighting its invaluable role in preoperative planning and ultimately patient safety. It's a profound shift towards truly personalized, error-preventing medicine.
So we've really seen today how these accessible open-source tools, coupled with sophisticated haptic feedback and the ingenious use of synthetic data, how they're making neurosurgical training safer, more effective, and just far more comprehensive than ever before. From building the simplest anatomical models for fundamental skills, like identifying key landmarks for common approaches, all the way to enabling full patient-specific rehearsals for complex procedures. The future of surgical education isn't just coming, it feels like it's truly here. It's empowering surgeons with unprecedented levels of preparation.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's clear that while these early-stage open-source tools are a fantastic starting point for innovation, for democratizing access, scaling up for real-world, high-volume professional scenarios definitely presents its own set of challenges.
Like what?
Well, we need to consider things like security compliance meeting really rigorous standards like FDA regulations, IIPA in the US, GDPR in Europe, and ensuring cost effectiveness at a truly professional scale. It can't just be a research tool forever.
Right, the practicalities of deployment.
Thanks. Exactly. This raises an important question for all of us, I think. How will this incredible innovation continue to balance the benefits of open-source accessibility with the rigorous demands of professional medical practice as it becomes more widespread? That's a key tension to watch.
That's a great point. So, thinking about everything we've discussed, what stands out to you, the listener, about this deep dive? Perhaps it's the sheer potential for every aspiring neurosurgeon to hone their skills in a risk free, infinitely repeatable virtual operating room, mastering those common procedures, confidently identifying crucial anatomical landmarks. Or maybe it's that profound shift towards proactive error prevention, moving away from the old apprenticeship model of see one, do one, teach one, towards a data driven, risk free mastery pathway.
Hmm.
It truly shows how technology is fundamentally creating a future where surgical mastery is genuinely within reach for more people. And that ultimately leads to better, safer outcomes for everyone.